Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. This is Simon. And I'm here to preview the upcoming Week 13 matchup. That's going to see the Detroit Lions come to the Caesars Superdome to take on our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. Detroit is 8-3. The Saints are 5-6. This is the first of 3 games in a row in the Caesars Superdome for our beloved Bless You Boys. Saints, I'm going to go over their roster in a minute. Let's talk about Detroit first. Detroit's one of those teams I like to call Saints Junior, Saints 2.0. You got Denver, you've got Atlanta, and you've got Detroit. Yeah, Detroit's got their head coach is Dan Campbell, former Saints tight end, former Saints tight end coach. He's been the head coach for Detroit, but this is his 3rd year now. They've also got Alex Anzalone at linebacker, who the Saints drafted. Yeah, we didn't try to keep a hold of him. He's turned into a pretty good player for Detroit. He's actually not practicing this week. Detroit also has C.D. Deuce, but he's on IR, so we won't be facing him either. Detroit has Aaron Glenn as their defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn was our secondary coach for a little while. Yeah, we've got a lot of former Saints players and coaches out there. And this is one of those teams. It's a Saints Junior to me. They've got a 8-3 record. They're looking pretty good. They're kind of questionable on defense, but their offense is ranked among the best. They've got Jared Goff as their quarterback, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs at running back. They've got St. Brown as a wide receiver. Their offensive line is really good. This is going to be a tough task for our defense. I think that Detroit is kind of playing above their heads right now. And the last couple of games have been rough for them. They lost last week. The week before, Goff turned the ball over several times. I think they managed to win that game. But last week, he turned the ball over again, and they lost. Jared Goff is one of those quarterbacks that the Saints wish they could play all the time. He's kind of a statue pocket guy, and if we can get some pressure on him, that would be surprising. Something we expected when the season started. So many mobile quarterbacks out there. Jared Goff is probably going to try to escape a few times, but if we're going to get a lot of sacks, this will be one of the games to do it. That offensive line of Detroit's is pretty good. We're going to talk about the Saints now. Let's pull up the offensive active roster for the Saints. And as you can see, Michael Thomas still on IR. And we've got a problem when it comes to wide receiver. Chris Olave suffered a concussion in last week's game. Now, currently right now, Olave is listed as limited in practice. He's going through the concussion protocol, and usually they don't involve a practice unless they've passed other hurdles. So there's a slight chance Chris Olave could play in this game. That would be shocking to me. We'll have to tune in later on in the week to find out what's going on there. But wide receiver Rashid Shaheed did not practice. He's suffered that thigh injury, and I don't think he's going to play this week. So I'm kind of looking at it as going into the game without Michael Thomas, without Chris Olave, without Rashid Shaheed. So you got Keith Kirkwood, you've got Lynn Bowden Jr., you've got A.T. Perry. we're going to have to bring up a body, probably Marquez Callaway from the practice squad. And I think we should also bring up Jontre Kirkland as well, wide receiver on the practice squad. That'll give us 5 receivers. Saints haven't tried any wide receivers out this week so far, so we'll see if we'll be able to manage. Eric McCoy at center did suffer a shoulder injury, but he finished the game last week, and he's currently listed as limited. So that's your offense. Let's pull up the defense. A lot of injuries here. Cam Jordan didn't practice with an ankle injury. Marcus May did not practice with a shoulder injury. Pete Werner did not practice. He has a shoulder injury and an oblique injury. So the defense, and as you can see, Marshawn Lattimore's not on this active roster. He's on IR. We put him on IR right before last week's game. We brought up Cameron Dantzler, and yeah, for some reason we kept Dantzler on the active roster and put Jason Pierre-Paul back on the practice squad, and he immediately got picked up by Miami. It's one of those things where I feel like the organization, they make mistakes, and that was another one. You know, you keep a guy like Kyle Phillips on your roster, but you put JPP on the practice squad. Nobody wants Kyle Phillips. So this is what we're looking at right now. If Jordan doesn't play, we're going to be hurting. We're going to have to start Tano Passanio. We're going to have to give Isaiah Foskey a bunch of playing time. We're probably going to have to play Kyle Phillips. You know, we also have another option in the practice squad, and Nico Lalos. So we might bring him up too. Yeah, it's a struggle right now on defense. And if Pete Werner doesn't go, we're really in trouble. We could slide Demario Davis to the outside linebacker spot and maybe play DeMarco Jackson at middle linebacker, or, we could keep Davis in the middle and bring in Nephi Sewell to play that outside spot. Jalen Smith's not with the team anymore. He's with the Raiders. So it's one of those things where we have these veterans that we keep on the practice squad, and they get snatched up from us. So hopefully the young guys will be able to do something. Another injury I'll mention is on offense, Kendre Miller. He's not practicing with a ankle, actually. And also we're looking at Blake Grupe, who's got a groin injury. Now, college seasons are a lot shorter than professional seasons, and this is the most football he's played, and we sure did put him through the ringer last week with all those kickoffs and 6 field goal attempts. He's suffering with a right groin injury right now, so we brought in a bunch of kickers. We ended up signing one. We put him on the practice squad. Grupe says they're going to have to force him not to play because he plans on playing. Well, that field goal that he missed at the end of the game last week came up short, which is something that we don't normally see from Grupe. So I know that groin injury was bothering him. So we have the insurance with the backup kicker, and we're expecting Grupe to play. All right, as far as the game goes, I believe Detroit is a 4.5 point favorite. At a neutral site, they'd be a touchdown favorite. And, it's easy to see why. The Saints are awful, and Detroit's playing pretty good. One thing the Saints have going for them, and they're forcing a lot of turnovers. They should have a home field advantage, but they're not playing very well at home right now. So 3 home games in a row, starting with Detroit. It'd be nice if we can peel off 3 wins. It'd be nice if we can beat another team from the NFC North, since we had to play all of them. The only one we've beaten this year is Chicago. Forced 5 turnovers in that game and barely won. So, yeah, it'll take a mini miracle for the Saints to beat Detroit. I don't think Detroit's that great. I think they're playing above their heads right now. But I cannot give the Saints credit. I cannot believe that they're going to play a good game in all three phases, and including coaching. I just haven't seen it. I think as fans, we know what the problem is, and we can't see this coaching staff do what needs to be done. If Derek Carr struggles in the red zone, and Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara are great in the red zone, doesn't take a genius. So if Taysom Hill gets involved in the red zone, take that pressure off of Carr. I don't care about his flipping feelings. He's making $150 million. Deal with it. You suck in the red zone. This coaching staff needs to do what needs to be done for us to score. I was thinking at the beginning of the year, Carr's great between the 20s. Once you get in the red zone, put Jameis Winston in there. He's got a record of being really good in the red zone. And you've got Taysom Hill. Put him in the game in the red zone. I don't care about Carr's flipping feelings. Screw him. As it is right now, I'd rather his $40 million a year as be sitting on the bench. I would rather have Andy Dalton as my quarterback right now instead of Derek Carr. Dalton, you'd be paying $6 million, not $40 million. So that's the way I feel. I'm disgruntled. I'm absolutely pissed. So I'm going to pick Detroit to win this game. I think they're going to get the running game going. I think they're going to have some big plays. I think the Saints are going to miss some tackles. And I think even though Jared Goff is a statue, but our defensive line we don't have enough pressure to take down even a statue. We don't try to blitz. I just don't see anything from this coaching staff that tells me we're going to win this game. So I'm picking Detroit to win. Final score 27-17. And if the Saints can manage to score 2 touchdowns, that would be a miracle, because Carr hasn't thrown a touchdown in 10 quarters. 9 quarters, I guess. He was hurt for 1 quarter. So let's see. Will it be 3 whole games in a row before Carr finally finds the end zone? I don't know. We'll see. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10. I will be doing a review of this game, and that video will come out on Tuesday. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?